$3 million. To leave my daughter. I thought I'd finally hit the big time, the absolute peak of my career. After all, this was the whole reason I'd gone through with this entire charade. But when I took the check to the bank, ready to cash in and buy a one-way ticket on the next train out of the city, the teller looked at me with an expression full of pity. "Sir, this is a bad check." I just stared at her. "What? Seriously? You're not even going to play fair?" The air conditioning in the coffee shop was blasting, but I couldn't feel it. My hands were shaking, my heart was hammering against my ribs, and blood was rushing to my head. Across from me sat the picture of old money elegance, Victoria Sterling, my current girlfriend Cassandra's mother. She had just pulled a check from her Hermes bag. $2 million. Leave my daughter. Her tone was flat, her eyes scanning me with the kind of disdain you reserve for something you've just scraped off your shoe. This was it. Oh, thank God. You have no idea how long I've been waiting for this day. My name is Ethan Vance, and I'm a professional decoy boyfriend. For 3 years, my entire job has been to take on breakup contracts. Basically, I act as a shield for rich heiresses whose families are pressuring them to marry some blue blood they don't love. I become the totally unsuitable boyfriend, and the gig is over when their parents pay me a ridiculous amount of money to disappear in the most humiliating way possible. Mission accomplished. For this moment, I'd spent months catering to my Ice Queen girlfriend, Cassandra Sterling. I'd been her doting partner, her errand boy, her everything, all while enduring that permanently frozen expression she called a face. Do you think it's been easy? Just thinking about it made my eyes well up. 2 perfect tears rolled down my cheeks. It was genuine emotion. Absolutely 100% real. Victoria Sterling saw me crying, and her perfectly sculpted eyebrows furrowed even deeper. The contempt in her eyes intensified. Tears won't help you. You and my daughter are from different worlds. She must have been impressed with my performance, or maybe she decided 2 million was an insult. She took out her pen and scribbled on the check. I'll add another million. 3 million. I hope you know when to be satisfied. She slid the check across the polished table. I looked down. A 3, followed by 6 zeros. My mind was already racing, calculating whether I should see the northern lights in Iceland first or go tan in the Maldives. The last time I saw that many zeros in a row was on the expiration date of a carton of eggs at the grocery store. But I couldn't smile. I'm a professional. I have standards. I reached out a trembling hand, hesitating as if I couldn't bear to touch the check. My soul was at war. On one side, pure, innocent love. On the other, filthy, dirty money. My face twisted in a mask of pain and conflict, finally settling into a sad, bitter smile. Ma'am, do you really think what Cassandra and I have can be measured in money? I was so convincing, I almost believed it myself. Victoria let out a cold laugh. What else is there? Your heartfelt devotion? How much is that worth in the real world? Right for the jugular. Ouch. I took a deep breath, as if making the hardest decision of my life, and snatched the check from the table. Fine, I'll do it, but not for the money, I choked out. I just don't want Cassandra to be unhappy fighting with her family because of me. I love her, so I'm willing to let her go. With that, I shot to my feet, wiped away my tears with the back of my hand, and stormed out of the coffee shop without a backward glance. I made sure my exit was as tragic and resolute as possible. The second I was out the door, the grief on my face vanished, replaced by a grin I couldn't contain. I found a quiet alley, pulled out the check, and gave it a big, wet kiss. Hello, beautiful. $3 million. After the agency took its 30% cut, I'd walk away with $2.1 million. I was rich. I was going to buy the most expensive sleeper car ticket I could find and ride the rails clear across the country to Oregon. I'd never come back. As for Cassandra the Ice Queen, someone else could deal with her. See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. The next morning, I clutched the check that held all my hopes and dreams and walked into the biggest bank in the city center. I'd even put on my most expensive suit for the occasion. It was a knockoff, sure, but you have to project confidence. I strode right up to the VIP window, ignoring the branch manager's "did this guy get lost?" stare, and slapped my check and ID down on the counter. Cash out. My voice was clipped, trying to channel some of that billionaire energy. The teller was a fresh-faced intern who visibly flinched when she saw the number on the check. $3 million. For a normal person, that was a life-changing amount of money. Her gaze instantly shifted from scrutiny to awe. I savored it. I cleared my throat and lowered my voice. Is there a problem? And no, of course not, she stammered, shaking her head and starting to type. I leaned against the counter, already lost in a daydream. With 2.1 million, I could buy a 3-bedroom house outright back in my small hometown in Ohio, get a decent car, and have enough left over to eat barbecue brisket with extra sides every single day. Life could be so beautifully simple. The minutes ticked by. The teller's expression slowly began to change. First, she frowned, typing furiously. Then she switched terminals. Finally, she looked up at me, her eyes a mix of confusion, disbelief, and pity. Yeah, definitely pity. Like she was looking at some poor schmuck who'd been scammed out of his life savings. My stomach dropped. What is it? The teller hesitated, then pushed the check back through the slot. Her voice was barely a whisper. Sir, I'm so sorry. This is a bad check. A bad check. My mind went blank. What the hell was a bad check? I snatched it back, flipping it over and over. The signature, the stamp, the numbers, it all looked real. You must have made a mistake. Check it again. My voice was a little too loud, attracting the attention of the branch manager. He took the check, glanced at it, glanced at me, and then let out a heavy sigh. He put a hand on my shoulder, his voice low and full of fatherly concern. Listen to me, kid. Some women are just out of your league. You're swimming with sharks here. You're young. Get back to the shallow end before you get hurt. Excuse me? What was with that look? Did I really look like some kind of boy toy living off a rich older woman? Well, I mean, I was. But what did that have to do with the check? Victoria Sterling, that titan of industry, that pillar of high society, had written me a bad check. Was she kidding me? This was infuriating. My professional dignity had been trampled on. This wasn't about the money anymore. It was about professional integrity. Fuming, I stormed out of the bank, whipped out my phone, and called my handler, my agency manager. Dave, I've been scammed. The client gave me a bad check. There was a moment of silence on the other end. Then Dave's voice came through, tinged with an unmistakable hint of amusement. Ethan, calm down. First of all, congratulations. You just passed the client's first-round stress test. I was floored. What stress test? Long story short, the client felt your performance so far has been a little too perfect. A bit fake. So Ms. Sterling decided to add a scene on the fly. She wanted to see how you'd react when you found out the check was worthless. Would you lose your temper and confront her? Would you just swallow your pride and disappear? Or, I felt like my intelligence was being insulted. So, where's my 3 million? Easy there, Dave said, sounding even more cheerful. Your mission has just been upgraded. The client is very impressed and has decided to give you a bigger challenge. From now on, your objective is no longer to take the money and break up with her. Your new mission is to do whatever it takes to win Cassandra Sterling back. Make her fall head over heels in love with you. So in love that she wouldn't break up with you even if her mother offered you $10 million. I blinked. I am sorry. I thought my ears were failing me. Run that by me again. You want me to do what? Win Cassandra back. And once she's completely devoted to you, only then will Ms. Sterling write you a real check. Oh, and by the way, the new payout is 10 million. The agency's cut is the same, so you'll clear 6 million. You in. I went silent. My brain was spinning. Win back Cassandra Sterling? That Ice Queen CEO? Make her fall in love with me? What kind of joke was that? Just being in the same room with her made me feel like I was about to get frostbite. But $6 million. I could practically see my 3-bedroom house waving at me. I could smell the sweet, smoky aroma of that barbecue brisket plate. I'm in. So what if she's an ice queen? For 6 million, I'd charm a volcano until it cooled. Gritting my teeth, I spoke into the phone. I'm in, but I'm going to need backup. Dave chuckled. No problem. The agency's latest R&D project, the professional boyfriend support system, has just been synced to your phone. It'll issue missions and guide your actions. Good luck, Ethan. I'm rooting for you. The line went dead. I looked down at my phone. A new, bright pink app had appeared on my screen. The icon was a winking heart emoji. The app's name? Simp Sync. I had the distinct feeling I'd just stepped onto a path of no return. I tapped open the app. The interface was hilariously basic, like some third-rate programmer had coded it with their feet. The home screen was stark. User, Ethan Vance Target. Cassandra's sterling current affinity, -10, contempt. My eye twitched when I saw that -10. Contempt? I'd bent over backward for her for months. I deserved some credit for my hard work, right? Apparently not. The woman was heartless. Just then, the app chimed and a mission window popped up. Newbie mission issued. Operation Grand Gesture Description. Cassandra Sterling is deeply disappointed by your ghosting and greedy behavior. She is currently in a high-level board meeting preparing to add you to the company's permanent blacklist. You must get to the Sterling Corporation headquarters before the meeting ends and salvage your image. Reward en ex nubis pack. I stared at the mission, completely dumbfounded. What the hell was this? Wasn't Victoria supposed to be in on this act? Why was Cassandra taking it so seriously? Blacklisting me? If that got out, my career in this niche, ethically gray industry was over. Crap. I had to go. I checked the time. The meeting ended in half an hour. Sterling Corp was downtown, in the heart of the financial district. Taking an Uber now would be suicide. I'd be stuck in traffic forever. The only way was the subway. I sprinted into the station and squeezed onto a packed train. It was standing room only, bodies pressed together, the air thick with the smell of humanity. I was crammed into a corner, feeling like a sardine in a can that had been run over by a truck. Suddenly, the phone of the guy next to me went off. His ringtone was some obnoxiously loud, bass-boosted rap song, cranked to maximum volume. The whole car vibrated. The guy answered, yelling loud enough for the entire train to hear. Yo, babe, what's up? What? You saw another purse? The Louis Vuitton one? How much? $2,800. Buy it. You gotta buy it. I make money to spoil you. Never mind $2,800. I'd buy it for you if it was $28,000. Everyone on the train was staring at him with a mix of annoyance and envy. I was envious too, not his wife, but of the bullhorn he was holding. Yes, a handheld bullhorn, the kind street vendors use for promotions. A brilliant, terrible plan formed in my mind. I nudged my way over to him and tapped his shoulder. Hey, man, quick question. He gave me a sideways glance. Yeah, I'll buy that bullhorn off you. He blinked. You serious, dude? This is how I make a living. $500. I held up 5 fingers. His eyes flickered. I don't know. This is the latest model. 2-hour charge gives you a whole day of playback. 1,000. His breathing quickened. He looked at the bullhorn in his hand, then back at my dead serious face. He gritted his teeth. Sold. He shoved the bullhorn into my hands, took my $1,000 Venmo payment on the spot, and hopped off at the very next stop without looking back. I clutched my new prize, a wicked smile spreading across my face. Cassandra Sterling, you just wait. Today you're going to witness what a real grand gesture looks like. Sterling Corporation was located in the most opulent part of the city's financial district. It was a 108-story skyscraper, its glass facade gleaming in the sun, a monument to the glorious power of capital. I stood at the entrance, bullhorn in hand, and took a deep breath. 2 security guards, built like refrigerators and wearing dark sunglasses, flanked the revolving doors like statues. They were looking at me like I was a homeless man who'd taken a very wrong turn. Sir, this is a private office building. No loitering, one of them said, stepping forward to block my path. I cleared my throat and put on what I hoped was my most charming smile. Gentlemen, I'm just here to see someone. Who? Do you have an appointment? I'm here to see your CEO, Cassandra Sterling. The 2 guards exchanged a look, their suspicion instantly ratcheting up to threat level midnight. Another one trying to get to Ms. Sterling? Listen, kid, stop dreaming and move along. Yeah, the last guy who said that ended up 3 blocks away before he knew what hit him. Okay, so sneaking in was not an option. I sighed dramatically. Very well. If you force my hand, I'll have to do this my way. I took 2 steps back, flipped the switch on the bullhorn, and cranked the volume to max. Then, channeling every ounce of theatrical training I'd ever had, I filled my lungs and roared into the mouthpiece. Cassandra Sterling. My voice, amplified 100 times, echoed across the plaza with the force of a sonic boom. You heartless woman, get out here. An old man feeding pigeons jumped, scattering birdseed everywhere. A passing businesswoman in a pantsuit was so startled she dropped her phone. The 2 guards were completely stunned, their sunglasses nearly sliding off their faces. Holy crap, this guy's insane. Get him! Get him out of here! They snapped out of it and charged at me. I dodged them with a nimble sidestep and continued my broadcast. Cassandra, I know you can hear me. Why are you doing this to me? You took my money and you stole my heart. And now you want to destroy my reputation, too? My lines were pure soap opera trash. I was making myself sick, but it was working. A crowd of onlookers was quickly gathering at the base of the Sterling building, everyone holding up their phones and recording. Whoa, what's going on? Is he exposing a cheater? Wait, he's yelling for Cassandra Sterling. Isn't that the Ice Queen CEO of Sterling Corp? This is the drama of the year. I gotta post this. The guards couldn't catch me. I led them on a merry chase around the large fountain in the center of the plaza, continuing my heartfelt performance. Cassandra, have you forgotten the promises you made me? You said we'd travel the world together. You said we'd give me a home. And now you're going to throw me away for your career? I won't allow it. I don't care if the whole world is against US. I'll always be with you. I screamed until I was hoarse, my voice cracking with emotion. Anyone watching would have thought I was a truly lovesick man, scorned and abandoned by a wealthy heiress. Just then, the massive glass doors of the Sterling building slid open. The crowd gasped, all eyes focused on the figure emerging from within. Cassandra Sterling. She was wearing a perfectly tailored black power suit, her long hair pulled back in an elegant bun. Her face was as impassive as ever. She looked like a queen surveying her domain. Behind her, a group of executives trailed along, each of them looking like they'd just swallowed a bug. When I saw her, my heart leaped. The fish had taken a bait. I immediately stopped running, dropped to my knees, and executed a perfect dramatic slide across the smooth pavement, right toward her. It was a flawless maneuver. I came to a stop at her feet and threw my arms around her legs. Cassandra, you finally came out to see me. I wailed, my voice thick with fake tears. Cassandra looked down at me, her expression unreadable. She just watched my performance silently, as if I were some bizarre street performer who had nothing to do with her. The crowd around us had erupted. Camera flashes were going off like a press conference. Oh my God, it really is her. Who is that guy? Is that her secret boyfriend? This is too much. I need to sit down. One of the executives behind Cassandra, clearly a close subordinate, finally lost his patience. Security? Where's security? Get this lunatic out of here. The two guards, still panting from chasing me, rushed over and grabbed me by the arms. I struggled with all my might. Let go of me. You can't keep us apart. Cassandra, tell them we're in love. I yelled, desperately trying to make eye contact with her, signaling frantically. Come on, lady, give me something. If you don't play along, they're going to have me committed. And then Cassandra, who had been silent this whole time, finally spoke. Her voice was as cool and clear as her name. Stand down. The guards froze. The entire plaza fell silent, waiting for the leading lady to deliver her line. Cassandra slowly crouched down, meeting my gaze. And then, for the first time ever, a tiny, almost imperceptible smile touched her lips. It was gone in a flash, but I know I saw it. She pulled a handkerchief from her pocket and gently dabbed the sweat from my forehead. The gesture was shockingly tender. Then, she took the bullhorn from my hand. Everyone held their breath. Was this it? Was she about to publicly declare our love? Or was she about to utterly destroy me? My own heart was pounding. Cassandra raised the bullhorn to her lips and, in her calm, collected voice, announced to the world. All right, stop making a scene. I forgive you. Come on, let's go upstairs. She handed the bullhorn back to me, stood up, and walked back toward the building, leaving me with nothing but the sight of her elegant back. The crowd was dead silent, utterly stunned. I was stunned, too. What? What has happened? She forgave me? Just like that? After I screamed like a maniac, hugged her legs, and publicly humiliated her, she just forgave me? That was completely out of character. Before I could process it, my phone chimed. It was that stupid app. Newbie mission. Operation Grand Gesture complete. Mission evaluation. S-rank. User transformed a potential PR crisis into a viral declaration of love with highly creative methods. Outstanding results. Reward, Newbie Starter Pack, has been delivered to your inventory. I numbly got to my feet and, under the bewildered stares of hundreds of people, followed Cassandra Sterling into that glittering tower of wealth. The elevator was silent, just the two of us. I secretly opened the app's inventory. A glowing gift box sat there. My heart pounding with excitement, I tapped it. Congratulations! You have received 1x pack of premium wet wipes, 10 count. I stared at the pack of wet wipes that had materialized in my hand, then looked at the silent, perfectly postured woman standing next to me. A wave of pure rage washed over me. I forced the words through my clenched teeth. Ms. Sterling, what the hell is going on? Cassandra turned to face me, a playful smirk dancing on her lips. Nothing. I just thought. You were kind of cute back there. Cute. I nearly choked. Lady, was there a single thing about that spectacle that could be described as cute? I was fighting for a $6 million payday. The elevator doors opened to the top floor, the executive suite. Cassandra settled into her throne-like chair and gestured for me to sit on the sofa opposite her desk. Let's talk. You found out about my mother's bad check, I assume. I nodded. So today's performance was your way of protesting? I nodded again. No, it was to complete the mission. You've got guts, she said, a hint of admiration in her voice. You're the first person in this entire company who's ever dared to cause a scene like that with me. And I have to admit, it was effective. She picked up her tablet, swiped a few times, and handed it to me. It was open to a social media trending page. Icequeens and Durlavesic Sterling Corp drama best apology ever for giveout stories had all gone viral. Thanks to you, our company stock jumped 3 points this afternoon. Cassandra leaned back, tapping her fingers on the desk. Ethan Vance, you're more interesting than I thought. So I've decided to give you a chance. She stood and walked around the desk, stopping in front of me and looking down. From now on, you will continue to be my boyfriend. Only this time, we're doing it for real. You'll keep playing the part until my mother willingly and genuinely offers you that money. So, she asked, her eyes boring into mine, do you accept? I looked into those deep, dark eyes, which seemed to hold entire galaxies. What could I say? For $6 million, I'd walk through fire. I gave her a solemn, determined nod. I accept. After my performance at the base of the tower, I became something of a legend at Sterling Corporation. Every employee I passed in the halls looked at me with a mixture of awe and morbid curiosity. I was now the man who tamed the Ice Queen. And with my new status came a new mission. Main quest line initiated. The charm offensive objective gained the genuine approval of Cassandra's mother, Victoria Sterling. Subquest 1. The family dinner details. To celebrate your reconciliation, Victoria Sterling is hosting a family dinner tonight and has invited a special guest. You are to attend and demonstrate your absolute superiority as Cassandra's boyfriend. Reward: 1x random household item. I read the description and my mouth twitched. Another random household item? Was this stupid app sponsored by Amazon? And this special guest was obviously someone Victoria had brought in to humiliate me. It had to be some young, handsome, trust fund kid. That evening at 7, I arrived at the address I was given, an incredibly lavish private club. A valet took my keys, and a host led me to a private dining room. When I walked in, the table was already full. At the head sat Victoria, dressed in a stunning designer gown, looking as regal as ever. The look she gave me, however, could have curdled milk. Next to her was Cassandra, looking as cool and detached as always, as if none of this had anything to do with her. And on Cassandra's other side sat a man. He was wearing a custom-tailored white suit, his hair slicked back perfectly. A Patek Philippe watch adorned his wrist, and he smiled benignly from behind a pair of gold-rimmed glasses. Wow, they really maxed out all his stats. He looked like the poster boy for the man your parents wish you were. Victoria saw me and waved me over with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Ethan, you're here? Come, sit. I'd like you to meet someone. This is Preston Hayes. He graduated from Harvard and is now a VP at a major investment bank on Wall Street. A real go-getter. As she spoke, she kept glancing at me, the subtext crystal clear. Look at him. Now look at you. Preston stood up and offered me his hand, his smile flawless. Ethan, a pleasure. Victoria has told me so much about you. I shook his hand. Nice to meet you. I could feel him squeezing a clear power play. I smirked internally. You want to play that game? I squeezed back, putting the full force of my 26 years of existence into my grip. Preston's smile faltered. It started to twitch at the corners, and a thin sheen of sweat broke out on his forehead. You, you have a strong grip, Ethan, he said, trying to pull his hand away, but I held fast. Not at all, Preston. You're the impressive one. Young, successful. I'm just a regular guy. As I spoke, I increased the pressure. I thought I heard the faint crackle of his knuckles. Victoria sensed something was wrong and quickly interjected. You two are hitting it off already. Please, sit down before the food gets cold. I finally released him. Preston quickly shook out his hand, which was now a lovely shade of crimson. The look he gave me was now tinged with fear. I sat down in the empty seat next to Cassandra without a word. She shot me a look, and I could have sworn I saw the corner of her mouth twitch upward before she regained her composure. The dinner began, and it quickly turned into the Preston Hayes show. He charmed Victoria with his knowledge of classical music and French wines, then pivoted to the complexities of Wall Street, dropping terms like NASDAQ and hedge funds left and right. Victoria was eating it up, practically beaming as she piled food onto his plate. Oh, Preston, you're just so brilliant. If only our Cassandra had half of your business acumen. Preston laughed modestly. You're too kind, Victoria. Cassandra is a powerhouse in her own right. It's not easy running a company of that size at her age. Then he turned his attention to me. So, Ethan, what industry are you in? Here we go. The classic interrogation. I put down my fork and wiped my mouth. Me? I am unemployed. I said it with complete confidence. Preston blinked, clearly not expecting such a blunt answer. Victoria looked like she was about to snap her chopsticks in half. Unemployed? Ethan, how can you say that with a straight face? I shrugged. Why not? I may not have a job, but I have Cassandra's love, and that's all I need. As I said this, I picked up a piece of lobster from my plate and placed it in Cassandra's bowl. Here, honey, you need to eat more. You've been looking so thin lately. Cassandra looked at the lobster, then at me, and then she actually picked it up and ate it. Preston's face turned a shade of green. Victoria's was as black as thunder. Not willing to give up, Preston pressed on. You have a great sense of humor, Ethan. But a man needs a career. Love alone doesn't pay the bills. I'm currently working on a project in Southeast Asia with a phenomenal rate of return. If you're interested, I could bring you in on it. His offer was a thinly veiled attempt to show off his wealth and connections. I smiled. Preston, thank you for the generous offer. But honestly, I'm not really interested in making money. My passions lie with more humble pursuits. With that, I reached into my pocket and pulled something out. It was a small, half-finished block of basswood and a pocket knife. I began to whittle long, smooth shavings falling onto my napkin. My life's ambition, you see, is to carve the perfect miniature bird. Look at this grain, this texture. Isn't it beautiful? This kind of spiritual fulfillment is something money just can't buy. As I spoke, I gave everyone at the table a pitying look, as if to say, you poor mortals just wouldn't understand. The entire room fell silent. Everyone was staring at me like I just sprouted a second head. Preston's jaw was hanging open. His prestigious Wall Street career seemed utterly pathetic in the face of my profound dedication to whittling. Victoria was clutching her chest, breathing heavily. I thought she might actually have a heart attack. Only Cassandra, her head bowed, had her shoulders shaking. I knew, without a doubt, that she was trying to stifle her laughter. The rest of the dinner was a chaotic mess. My whittling had completely shattered Preston's elite, high-finance persona. He spent the rest of the meal in a daze, as if he couldn't comprehend why he was sitting at a table with a man who was carving a piece of wood. Victoria glared at me with such intensity that I was surprised I didn't burst into flames. After dinner, Victoria excused herself, claiming a headache, and shot me one last death glare before leaving. Preston also made a hasty exit, giving me a look of pity and confusion that seemed to say, "You're a madman, but I respect it." Soon, it was just me and Cassandra in the room. I proudly pocketed my half-finished bird. So, how'd I do? Cassandra didn't answer. She just poured herself a glass of red wine, then poured one for me. She raised her glass in a toast. You've earned this. There was a definite hint of laughter at her voice. I clinked my glass against hers and downed it in one go. Just doing my job. That made her laugh, a real, genuine laugh. It was the first time I'd ever seen it. When she smiled, it was like watching an iceberg melt in the spring. It was actually quite beautiful. Where did you get that wood? She asked, curious. Oh, I bought the kit from an old guy in the park for 20 bucks. He even threw in a carrying case. Cassandra laughed even harder. You are. One of a kind. Just then, my phone chimed. Subquest 1. The family dinner complete. Mission evaluation. SS rank. User executed a bizarre, yet effective form of psychological warfare, completely demolishing the opponent's confidence while successfully enraging the target's mother. Results were significant. Reward. 1. X-exclusive 82 La Fight corkscrew. I stared at the image of a glittering, diamond-encrusted corkscrew in my inventory and fell into a deep contemplation. System, do you think I'm some kind of comedian? I can't even afford a bottle of $2 Chuck, and you give me a corkscrew for a vintage wine? What am I supposed to do with this? Open a beer. Come on, I'll drive you home, Cassandra said, standing up and grabbing her purse. You'll drive me? I was shocked. I was usually the one who played chauffeur for her. Is that a problem? She asked, raising an eyebrow. No, of course not. Who was I to turn down a ride in a CEO's luxury car? Cassandra's car was a black Bentley. I sank into the plush leather of the passenger's seat and sighed. The evils of capitalism were so damn comfortable. Soft classical music played from the speakers. Cassandra drove with intense focus, her profile looking almost soft in the passing glow of the streetlights. The atmosphere was almost intimate. My app, of course, chose that moment to act up. Randomly triggered quest, a romantic moment description. On the drive home, create a spontaneous romantic moment that will make Cassandra's heart flutter. Reward. 1X pack of Love's Last Drag cigarettes, special edition. I sighed. Fine. Create romance. I could do that. I quietly turned off the classical music and connected my phone to the car's Bluetooth. A moment later, a loud, twangy, ridiculously upbeat song blasted through the Bentley's high-end sound system. If it hadn't been for Cotton Eye Joe, I'd been married long time ago. I started clapping along to the beat, slapping my thighs, and singing at the top of my lungs. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? Cassandra's hands, which had been steady on the steering wheel, visibly jumped. She slammed on the brakes, pulling the car over to the side of the road. The music cut out abruptly. She turned and stared at me, her expression one of utter disbelief. Ethan, what are you doing? I looked at her innocently, creating a romantic moment. It's a fun song, full of life. Don't you think this is the kind of simple, honest romance that we working-class people enjoy? Cassandra was silent for a full 30 seconds, just staring at me. I was sure she was about to kick me out of the car. But then, she burst out laughing. She laughed so hard she had tears in her eyes. Ethan, I take back what I said before, she gasped, trying to catch her breath. You're not one of kind. You're a psychopath. Still chuckling, she put the car back in drive and pulled onto the road. The car was quiet again, but I knew, somehow, that something between us had changed. After the Cotton Eye Joe incident, Cassandra's attitude toward me softened considerably. She still had her icy demeanor, but now and then she'd crack a joke. Victoria, on the other hand, now viewed me as a public menace. She tried to make my life miserable in 100 different ways. She made me give her prize poodle, Prince, a bath. The dog was more aggressive than a starved wolf and chased me around the block. She made me wait in line for 3 hours to buy her a limited edition handbag, only for a woman in front of me to buy my spot for $5,000. I endured it all. For $6 million, I could handle a little humiliation. One day, while I was at home practicing my whittling, Victoria called. Her tone was imperious. Ethan, the Sterlings are having a very important family gala tonight. All the relatives will be there. As Cassandra's boyfriend, your attendance is mandatory. 7 o'clock at the Summit Club. If you're late, or if you embarrass me, you're dead. She hung up before I could reply. I rolled my eyes. A family gala? More like a public execution. I could already imagine being the target of every snide remark from every snobby relative. But who cared? I, Ethan Vance, was a battle-hardened veteran. There was no social situation I couldn't handle. That evening, I got dressed up. I put on my best $9.99 plus free shipping Armani knockoff suit from Wish and used half a bottle of gel to slick my hair back until it was so shiny a fly would slip and break its leg if it tried to land on it. I rode my beat-up electric scooter up the winding road to the Summit Club, which was perched on a hill overlooking the entire city. The security guards at the gate stared at my scooter which was parked between a Porsche and a Lamborghini, with open disgust. If I hadn't dropped Cassandra's name, they wouldn't have even let me in. The ballroom was a sea of glittering chandeliers and expensive gowns. Men in tuxedos talked business over glasses of champagne, while women in jewels gossiped in tight circles. The moment I walked in, I became the center of attention. Every eye in the room was on me, a mix of curiosity, scorn, and disbelief. I just threw my shoulders back and walked through the crowd like I was on the red carpet at the Oscars. Cassandra and Victoria were talking to an old man who was clearly the family patriarch. When Victoria saw me, her face fell. She rushed over, her voice a furious whisper. "Ethan, what in God's name are you wearing? Did you buy that from a street vendor? And your scooter? Are you trying to publicly humiliate me?" I feigned innocence. "Victoria, this is my best suit, and the scooter is great for the environment. I'm just doing my part." She looked like she was about to explode, but she couldn't make a scene. "Fine, just remember, tonight you keep your mouth shut and eat. If you say one word out of line, I swear I'll make you regret it." After her warning, she turned and rejoined the old man. Fine by me. I made a beeline for the buffet. Lobster, oysters, king crab. They had everything. I grabbed a plate and went to town. I was in the middle of devouring a lobster tail when a slimy voice spoke next to me. Well, if it isn't the boyfriend Cassandra dragged in. You eat like you haven't seen food in a week." I turned to see a middle-aged man in a gaudy floral shirt and a thick gold chain. Clearly one of the relatives. With my mouth full, I mumbled, "Can't help it. I'm poor. Never had food this good before." The man was taken aback for a second, then sneered. "Listen, kid, know your place. Cassandra is the jewel of the Sterling family. Her husband will be a man of equal standing. A broke nobody like you trying to climb the social ladder? It's pathetic." A few other relatives chimed in. "Exactly. Take a look in the mirror. Just take the money and get lost. Don't embarrass the family." I swallowed the lobster and wiped my mouth with a napkin. I looked at them and smiled. "Uncles, you're all absolutely right. I don't deserve Cassandra. I have no money, no power, no connections. But," I raised my voice, drawing the attention of those nearby, "I have a heart full of love for her, and she loves me. That's all that matters. Love can't be measured by money or status." My declaration, so full of righteous indignation, silenced the entire area. Everyone was stunned by my sudden outburst. The man in the floral shirt turned beet red, pointing at me, speechless. You. Just then, Cassandra walked over. She slipped her arm through mine and looked at the relatives, her voice cold as ice. "Uncle Robert, my personal life is none of your concern. Ethan is the man I've chosen. I love him, and that's enough. If any of you disrespect him again, you're disrespecting me." With that, she pulled me away, leaving a crowd of stunned relatives in her wake. She led me to a quiet corner of the ballroom. I looked at her, genuinely touched. "Thanks for that." Cassandra shook her head. They were out of line. "But," she added, a hint of a smile on her face, "that little speech of yours was surprisingly convincing." I grinned. The perks of being a professional actor. As we stood there, sharing a look, Victoria stormed over, her face a mask of fury. She pulled me aside and, once again, took a check from her purse. 10 million, she hissed, her voice shaking with rage. "Take this money and disappear from my daughter's life. Forever." She shoved the check into my hand, her grip so tight I thought she might break my fingers. I looked down at the check. A 1, followed by 7 zeros. The number I had been dreaming of. My heart began to pound. My $6 million commission was waving at me. My 3-bedroom house, my brisket plates. It was all finally happening. I suppressed my giddy excitement and arranged my face into an expression of pure anguish. "Victoria, not this again. I told you, what Cassandra and I have is real." "Victoria is not real? Stop acting, Ethan. You're only here for the money. 10 million is enough for you to live like a king in whatever backwater town you crawled out of. No one to quit. You're insulting my integrity." I cried, full of fake outrage. "So what if I am?" Her patience was clearly gone. "I'm telling you, if you don't take this money and leave tonight, I have 100 ways to make sure you can never work in this city again. Do you understand me?" Oh, I understood. I understood perfectly. This was exactly what I'd been waiting for. My hand started to move toward the check, as if of its own accord. My brain was screaming, take it now. But my training kicked in. No, the performance isn't over. I had to show that I was only accepting the money under extreme duress. I took a shaky breath, my eyes welling up again. Do you have to be so cruel? Phoenix, I'll go, okay? I wish you both all the happiness in the world. I was sobbing now, a tragic hero torn from his one true love by a cruel mother-in-law. My hand finally closed around the check. I was about to pocket it and make my final, tearful exit when another hand covered mine. It was Cassandra. She had come up behind us without me noticing. She was looking at me, her expression a complex mix of emotions I couldn't decipher. There was disappointment, irony, and something else. Ethan, she asked, her voice quiet and cold. Are you really going to give me up for money? My heart stopped. Lady, not now. The show is almost over. I tried to signal to her with my eyes. Play along. Let me take the money so we can finish the mission. But Cassandra ignored my frantic signals. She plucked the check from my hand. And then, right in front of me, she tore it in half. Rear up. I was stunned. Victoria was stunned. I watched as the $10 million check fluttered to the floor like confetti. My heart shattered right along with it. My $6 million. My house. My brisket. Mother, Cassandra said, her voice firm. I told you, Ethan is my partner. It doesn't matter how much money you offer, I'm not breaking up with him. And from now on, stop testing the people I choose to have in my life. She grabbed my limp, paralyzed hand and pulled me away. Come with me. I felt like a puppet as she led me through the entire ballroom, past hundreds of shocked faces and out of the Summit Club. My mind was a blank slate, except for one single, repeating thought. It's over. Cassandra shoved me into her Bentley. We drove in silence until we reached a deserted spot overlooking the river. The wind was cold, but my heart was colder. $10 million gone. I felt like my soul had been vacuumed out of my body. Get out, Cassandra said, breaking the silence. I robotically followed her out of the car to the railing. She took a cigarette from her purse, lit it, and took a long drag. Her face was obscured by the smoke. Ethan, tell me, she said suddenly, do you think I'm a nuisance? I didn't answer. I didn't want to talk. Do you think I ruined your big payday? She asked again. I sighed. Ms. Sterling, let's be honest. Our agreement was that I would help you put on a show so your mother would pay me off. The money was on the table, and you ripped it up. What was that? Were you just messing with me? Cassandra stubbed out her cigarette and turned to face me. In the dark, her eyes seemed to shine. What if I told you I didn't want you to go? I froze. What do you mean? I didn't want you to take that money and disappear from my life. She started walking toward me, the clicks of her heels on the pavement echoing like a drumbeat against my heart. Ethan, you're an interesting person. When I'm with you, I feel relaxed, happy. I've never felt that way before. So I changed my mind. She stopped right in front of me and looked up into my eyes. I don't want you to be my fake boyfriend anymore. I want you to be my real one. I was completely and utterly floored. This wasn't right. The script was supposed to be a professional contract, not a CEO falls for the hired help romance novel. I held up my hands. Ms. Sterling, you can't be serious. We're from different worlds. I'm just an actor trying to make a living. I know, she said. I know everything about you. Ethan Vance, 26 years old, graduated from a third-tier university with a degree in theater arts. 3 years ago, you signed with the Dream Lover talent agency, specializing in decoy boyfriend roles. You've completed 17 contracts with a 100% success rate. You're their top agent. She had my entire life story memorized. A cold sweat broke out on my back. How do you know all that? Cassandra smiled, a sly, triumphant look on her face. Because that Dream Lover agency, I own it. I just stared at her. My brain short-circuited. I could almost hear the sound of my internal processors frying. What did you say? I said, the company that hired you to act is my company. Dave Roberts is my personal assistant. Your little SimpSync app was designed by my programmers in an afternoon. As for my mother, Victoria Sterling, she's a nationally acclaimed theater actress. I hired her. And Preston, he's another one of my employees, just doing a little guest appearance. With every sentence she spoke, my world crumbled a little more. By the time she was finished, it was nothing but ruins. So, this whole time, I was the only one who wasn't in on the joke? I thought I was the master puppeteer, but I wasn't even in the audience. I was the stage itself. Why? I managed to choke out. Because I was recruiting, she said. Recruiting? Yes. For the position of chief creative officer at my company. I needed someone who thinks outside the box, who can come up with brilliant, crazy ideas in impossible situations. I interviewed dozens of candidates, but they were all so boring, so conventional. And then I saw your file. Your spectacular proposal outside my office building showed me your potential. Defeating a Wall Street VP at a dinner party with a piece of which showed me your audacity. And playing Cotton Eye Joe in my Bentley to create a romantic moment showed me that you are unique. Ethan, you passed all of my tests. You're the person I've been looking for. She held out her hand. I'm now officially offering you a job. Join my company as my chief creative officer. The salary is $5 million a year, plus 1% of the company's stock options. Are you in? I looked at her, then at her outstretched hand. The wind whipped through my hair, messing it up, just like she had messed up my entire life. In that one moment, my world had been turned completely upside down. I took the job. Of course I did. The offer was too good to refuse. $5 million a year plus stock options? It'd be trying to scam breakup fees out of rich families by a long shot. My life went from 0 to 100 overnight. One day, I was a struggling actor. The next, I was the CCO of a major corporation. It had a nice ring to it. On my first day, Cassandra gave me a personal tour of the office. Every employee we passed greeted me with a respectful Mr. Vance. It felt incredible. Dave Roberts, or I should say Assistant Roberts, greeted me with a wide, fawning smile. Mr. Vance, it's an honor to be working with you. I clapped him on the shoulder. You too, Dave. By the way, what happened to my SimpSync app? His smile twitched. Ms. Sterling had it. Uninstalled. I was given my own office, right next to Cassandra's, separated only by a frosted glass wall. It was bigger and more luxurious than my old apartment. I sank into the six-figure leather chair and felt like I had reached the pinnacle of human achievement. My job description was vague. Cassandra said my main task was to solve problems that can't be solved with normal methods. For instance, a potential partner was refusing to negotiate a deal. Cassandra handed the case to me. I looked into the guy's background and found out he was a fanatical poker player. So, instead of talking business, I found him at his usual underground poker game and played with him all night. I intentionally lost over $50,000 to him. Finally, when he was giddy with his winnings, I slid the contract across the table. Here, sign this. Consider it a tip. He signed without even reading it. Another time, a rival company poached our entire core tech team. Cassandra told me to get them back. I didn't bother with salary negotiations. I hacked into the rival company's internal dating site, matched all of our former employees with the most attractive receptionists at our company, and then organized a singles mixer. A week later, the entire tech team resigned from the other company and came begging for their old jobs back. They said they had found love. My reputation at the company grew. People said that when a problem came up, Ethan Vance could solve anything. My relationship with Cassandra became complicated. We were boss and employee, partners in crime. But most of the time, we were more like rivals who couldn't help but enjoy each other's company. She would burst out laughing at my ridiculous ideas. I would feel a surge of pride at a single nod of approval from her. We worked late together, ate dinner together, and even whittled together. That's right. I had successfully converted Cassandra into a whittling enthusiast. Now, in our executive meetings, every board member had their own block of wood. It was quite a sight. A year later, at the Sterling Corporation's annual gala, I was on stage as the Chief Creative Officer and Employee of the Year. I stood in the spotlight, looking out at the sea of faces, and felt a wave of emotion. A year ago, I was a nobody willing to sell fake love for a few $1,000s. Now, I was here, receiving a standing ovation. A year ago, I began, and a wave of laughter went through the crowd. Our CEO, Ms. Sterling, lured me into this company with a $10 million scam. At the time, I thought I'd lost my chance to be a millionaire. But now I want to thank her. Because of her, I found my purpose. I learned that a person's creativity is worth far more than money. Of course, I added with a grin, if she wanted to replace my $1 million bonus with that original $10 million check, I'd be even more grateful. The crowd roared with laughter. I saw Cassandra in the front row, covering her mouth, Her eyes crinkled in a smile. After the gala, the executives had a private party on the rooftop terrace. The city lights twinkled below us. I found Cassandra standing alone by the railing, looking out at the view. She was wearing a stunning red gown and looked breathtaking. "What are you thinking about?" I asked, coming to stand beside her. "I was thinking that a year ago today, I was standing in this exact spot," she said. "Except then, you weren't here with me." I smiled and reached into my pocket. I pulled out the diamond-encrusted 82 Lawfite corkscrew from the app. "Here, for you." She took it looking puzzled. "What's this?" "A souvenir," I said, "to commemorate our $10 million first meeting." Cassandra looked at the corkscrew, then back at me and laughed. "Ethan, are you still thinking about that 10 million? "Of course," I said. "I almost earned that money fair and square." She laughed again. "All right." She reached in her purse and pulled out a credit card. She handed it to me. "There's 10 million on this. Consider it your long overdue breakup fee." I stared at the card. "Are you serious?" "Of course," she said. "But if you take it, you have to agree to one condition." "What condition?" She leaned in close, her voice a soft whisper in my ear. "From this day forward, you're not allowed to break up with me." Her breath was warm against my skin. My heart did a little flip. I looked at her face, so close to mine, at her shining eyes, and I knew I was in deep. I took the card, then wrapped my arms around her waist, pulling her close. "Ms. Sterling, are you trying to buy my loyalty? And what if I am? Then I'm happy to inform you that it worked. From now on, Ethan Vance belongs to you, and you're never getting rid of me." I lowered my head and kissed her. The wind blew around us, carrying the sweet taste of a new beginning. My life had started with an absurd lie, but somehow I had found the most genuine happiness I had ever known. Not a bad trade-off,